Hi, my name is Daniel Kim, and this is the 11th video lesson for the General Ability Test series. Let's get right into the first question. So the number of letters skipped between adjacent letters in this particular group of letters is a multiple of 3. So all we need to do is find a sequence of letters which carries this rule. So if we look at the first multiple choice, we have A, E, L, P, Z. So let's take a look. From A to E, we skip the letters B, C, D, which is 3, and that is a multiple of 3. From E to L, we have to go F, G, H, I, J, K, which is in fact 6. From L to P, M, N, O, so that's just 3. And from P to Z, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. So that is 9. Now, all of these differences are a multiple of 3. So that means we found our answer, which is lucky, which means we don't have to do the rest of these. So we circled the correct answer for question 1, which is the letter A, and we move on to the next question. 4 words have been given, and then one of them is different to the rest. So we have to find the odd one out from the rhinoceros, the lion, the deer, or the ass. Now, the last word is actually another name for the donkey, not a name for your bottom. So, which one is the odd one out here? Well, for this question, we need to consider the diet of these animals. To start off with, we need to realize that one of them is a carnivore. Can you guess which one? That's right, it's the lion, B. And that is the reason it is the odd one out from this group, because the rhinoceros, the deer, and the donkey all are herbivores. In other words, they eat plants, not animals. And so the lion has to be the odd one out for this particular question. In question 3, we have a number pattern, and we need to figure out which number fills this gap. So let's look at the numbers behind me. We have 6, 3, 4, 8, 18, 2, 3, and then 27. And then we have 15, 5, an unknown number, and then that gets us to 9. Now the first thing that I noticed was that 8 and 4, or rather 4 is a factor of 8, and 3 is a factor of 27. So that leads me to believe that there is going to be a multiplicative step somewhere along the way. Now, here's what I noticed after looking at that. The quotient of 6 and 3 is 2, and 2 times 4 will get me 8. So, it looks like the rule is you have to take the quotient of the top 2 numbers and then multiply that with the number below it in order to get the final number. 18 divided by 2 gets us 9, and 9 times 3 gets us 27. So what do we need to do here? 3. And 3 times a certain number will get us 9. And as I'm sure you all know by now, that means the question mark needs to be the number 3. So for that reason, the answer to question 3 is 3, C. The next question is a synonym question. The students were told to omit the second last test question. Now we have the words enter, disregard, guess, and finish. So let us look at the word omit in this particular context. Now, omit means to leave out or to leave unmentioned. So we need to find a word that has that similar meaning in this particular context. A doesn't make sense at all. To enter the second last question, it sounds like the question is a physical object or a maze or something like that you can go in, but you can't do that with the question. So A doesn't make sense. So you can immediately mark that one out, which leaves you with disregard, guess, and finish. Now, disregard means to not take into account. And this has a very similar meaning to omit, in that omit can mean to leave something unmentioned, and that's also what disregard means, to leave something unmentioned, and you don't take that into account, as I just said. C, guess, make an opinion on little information. So it's when you don't know the answer, but you have to choose something anyway, which you might have done for this question. And D, finish. Well, that's not the meaning that we were looking for. So, as I've clearly established, the answer is B, disregard, because of the similar meaning to the word omit in this context. I'm moving on to question 5 now, and here we have to construct a logical sequence using these 5 words. So, let's start. We have the words family, community, member, locality, and country. And as you can see, these are all groups of people, and the groups are of differing sizes. So, what is the smallest? Well, all the answers actually start off with 3, 1, which goes member, family. And that much makes sense, because out of these 5 words, member has to be the smallest. Members make up a family, but then what do families make up? Well, lots of families together will make up a community. So that means the next number has to be 2, which means the answer is either A or B. Now, lots of communities together, do they make a locality or a country? Well, they make a locality, and localities will make up cities, and that will make up states, and then states will make up a country. So that's why country has to be at the end, because it is the largest group of people, let's put it that way. So that means the answer to number 5 is A, which goes member, family, community, locality, and then country. Question 6 now, we have to finish the sentence by putting the words in the correct order. It was not, and then we have the words the, he, until, entered, learning, university, the, truly began, that. So, what do we do here? Well, firstly, you have to start putting words in the correct order, and to do that you need to know where the sentence is going. So if you read the first 3 words, it was not, the next word that seems to fit the most reasonably is the word until, because it was not until that and then something happens. So, if you put the sentence correctly, if you put the words in the correct order for the sentence to function, you get the sentence, it was not until he entered the university that the learning truly began. Now, once you get that particular sentence, the final word ends up being began, and that starts with the letter B. So for question 6, you need to have the letter C as your answer. Now we get to question 7, which tests your vocabulary. What is a goose step? Now, if you don't know what a goose step is, and you look through the multiple choice, you have a very interesting selection of options to choose from. An awkward step before a stumble, a rural folk dance, a resting platform for geese, and a marching style. So out of these, all of them have very different ideas. But what I can tell you is that the goose step is actually a marching style, D. It's basically, it was developed for, well, it's used nowadays more conventionally for parades, but it carries a slight negative connotation. If you want to go read about it, it's very interesting, but it basically involves marching by bringing your leg up to the... bring your leg up. I can't do it in these jeans apparently, but you do that continuously at approximately 120 beats per minute, so it's pretty difficult to do. Have fun if you're going to attempt it. Question 8. If the words below were rearranged to form the best sentence, which word would come last? So, what do we do here? Exactly he do, what did, would he, said he. The word he comes up a lot, and that sounds like it would be the subject of the sentence. So let's put he first, and then he, you have to put a verb after that. So, but do, he do, is not the right conjugation. So you need he did, and then if you put the rest of the sentence in the correct order, he did exactly what he said he would do, turns out to be the sentence you need. So the word that comes last is the word do, which means the letter A is the answer for question 8. Now we have once again, we have 4 words, and one of them is the odd one out. Autocracy, bureaucracy, democracy, and diplomacy. They all end with a C. But one of them is the odd one out. Let's take a look at them. Autocracy is a form of government in which one person has unlimited power. Bureaucracy is a government where there are many rules and procedures, and there is a hierarchy of power, and they rely a lot on written communication and formalities. We then have democracy, which is a government by the people, where citizens have power. In Australia, we have democracy, where we are able to vote for the people in our government. And then we have diplomacy, and diplomacy is the process of conducting negotiations between nations. So the only definition where I didn't say the word government was D, so that makes it the odd one out for this particular question. And then if we look at question 10, we have these symbols. One of them has to be the odd one out. And for this one, the first thing that I noticed was that in B, the lines actually cross through the circle. And that doesn't happen in any of the other ones. Sure, the border may be flipped in C, but but that crossed circle makes B more unlike the other 3. So that's the reason that for question 10, B has to be the odd one out. So there we are, that's the video lesson for this particular test. I hope you had fun, I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you next time.